Good morning, students. In the last video, if you remember, that we completed the ionization potential and ionization energy, that is energy required to remove an electron from an isolated gaseous atom to form a positive cation. Now today we are starting with the new topic, that is electron affinity, which is also called as EA in short, electron gain enthalpy. As the metals are losing the electrons in the similar manner, non-metals are accepting the electron. So when they accept the electron, they form the stable anion. There will be amount of energy released. That energy is known as electron affinity. In proper way, how we can define that? The amount of energy released while converting a neutral isolated gaseous atom into a negatively charged gaseous anion by the addition of electron. That amount of energy is called as electron affinity. In short, we can write it as EA. Let's see that X is an alien element in its gaseous state. One atom of this element will take the electron, forming the anion X minus in a gaseous state. Along with that, the amount of energy is released, that is called as electron affinity. The unit of electron affinity to measure that, electron volt per atom or kilojoule per mole. It is represented by the negative sign because the amount of energy is released during the process. Let's take the example for this to understand how we can write it. Chlorine atom in its gaseous state takes the one electron, forming the chloride anion. Along with that, the 349 kilojoule per mole of amount of energy is released. So we can say that the electron affinity of a chlorine is minus 349 kilojoule per mole. Electron affinity depends upon the two factors. The first factor is atomic size and the second factor is nuclear charge. The first factor is that smaller the atomic size, greater the electron affinity. If the atomic size is small, electron affinity is more. Why? Because effective attractive force between the nucleus and the incoming electron will be greater in small atom, and thus electron will held firmly. Atom will form the stable anion with the release of more amount of energy. Therefore, the electron affinity will be greater. In a similar way, greater the nuclear charge, greater the electron affinity, because more force of attraction will be applied by the nucleus to hold the incoming electron and thus will form the stable anion. Thus, more amount of energy is released. Therefore, greater the nuclear charge, greater the electron affinity. Now, the next is that what are its variation in the periodic table, or we can say that threads of the electron affinity in the periodic table. First of all, in a period, across a period, when one is moved left to right, atomic size decreases. Atomic size decreases, nuclear charge increases. As already we know that nuclear charge increases means also will increase the electron affinity, because greater nuclear charge will be apply the greater attractive force of attraction. Thus electron will be held by the nucleus very tightly, will form the stable anion. Thus in a period when one move left to right, at the time atomic size decreases, nuclear charge increases, and therefore electron affinity also increases. Electron affinity is highest for the group 17 elements, that means for the halogens, and it is least for the group 1. As we are saying, in a period from left to right, it is increases. So left side is the first A group and right side is a 7A group, that is a 17th group halogen elements. That's why the electron affinity of halogen elements will be always greater. Inert gases will have the zero affinity. Remember this special point. Inert gases will have the zero electron affinity. Why? Because they have their stable electronic configuration. So they will find the difficulty to accept the electron. So this can be also asked as a give reason that inert gases have the zero electron affinity. So the answer can be written as due to their stable electronic configuration, they find it difficult to accept the electron. Therefore, they have the zero electron affinity. Now down the group, when we will move from top to bottom, atomic size increases, nuclear charge decreases, therefore electron affinity also decreases. Due to the increase in atomic size, the effective nuclear charge decreases. The incoming electron will find the less force of attraction, so the less amount of energy is released, thus electron affinity decreases. I repeat, when one move from top to bottom in a group, atomic size increases. We already knowing it. Why the atomic size increases? Atomic size increases due to the addition of extra shell, and thus effective nuclear charge decreases from top to bottom. As the nuclear charge decreases, the incoming electron will find less force of attraction. Thus, less amount of energy is released, so electron affinity is also less. So, atomic size increases, effective nuclear charge decreases, and electron affinity also decreases when one moves from top to bottom. Note, we have to remember this special note. In a group 17, fluorine has a lower electron affinity than the chlorine. As we are saying that from the top to bottom, the electron affinities decreases. It means the first element should have the maximum electron affinity. As when we move from, then the electron affinity goes on decreases. But it is a one exceptional case. We can say that in this 17th group, fluorine has a lower electron affinity than the chlorine, because the fluorine is present in second period. It have the 2 shells. Chlorine is present in the third period. It have a 3 shells. So we can say that the fluorine have a smaller size. So this lower electron affinity is because of what? Because of the size of fluorine is as a very small. As a result, there are strong inter-electronic repulsion takes place. Due to that, the incoming electron does not feel the much more attraction. So it little takes a more time to accept it. As it takes a little more time, so its electron affinity is less than the chlorine. In the chlorine, due to its greater atomic size, the incoming electron will only feel the attraction, not the repulsion, and thus it forms the anion more readily as compared with the fluorine. Thus the chlorine have the more electron affinity than the fluorine. This is the same case happens in the oxygen. Oxygen also have the lower electron affinity than the sulfur. This is the same thing, that the oxygen have the smaller size as compared with the sulfur. So in the oxygen, there is also strong inter-electronic repulsion taken place. Due to that repulsion, the incoming electron will feel less attraction. Thus it will form the anion, and with the little more time as compared with the sulfur. So the oxygen will have the lower electron affinity than the sulfur. In exam, this can be asked as a give reason. So this special note should be remembered thoroughly. Now we move for the next topic, next point, that is electronegativity. Before moving to this electronegativity point, let me move for the covalent bond. Already we knowing that what is covalent bond. Covalent bond is the bond formed by the sharing of electron. 2 atoms, say atom A and atom B, both are contributing their electrons, and this electron pair now will be in the center of A and B. It is used by the A also, it is used by the B also. So this electron pair will remain in the center of A and B. But suppose B have the more capacity to take the electron pair. Attraction towards the electron B have the more. So this shared pair of electron will get shifted towards the B. Thus, in this case, this shared pair of electron will not equally contributed or equally distributed between the A and B. Thus, we can say that the B have the more capacity. This capacity of a B, or this tendency of a B, is called as a electronegativity. So, in a proper words, how we can define that? We can define the electronegativity that the tendency of an atom in a molecule to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself is called its electronegativity. I repeat, it is the tendency of an atom in a molecule to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself is called as its electronegativity. It is a dimensionless because it is a net result of two capacity. Which one is a more capable to take the electron, shared pair of electron towards itself? That resultant capacity is a dimensionless. So electronegativity is a dimensionless property. It is only a capacity or a tendency, and also it is a resultant and property because in between the two atom which is a more capable to take the electron pair towards itself. Therefore it is a dimensionless. The scale which is used for the electronegativity to measure it, many scales were there, but most widely used scale is devised by the scientist Linus Pauling, which is called as a Pauling scale. According to this Pauling scale, the fluorine has the highest value of electronegativity 4 and cesium has the lowest electronegativity value of 0.7. So all the elements will have their electronegativity between the range of 0.7 minimum of the cesium to the fluorine maximum of a 4. And remaining all the elements will be remain in between this range. Electronegativity now depends on first factor atomic size, second factor nuclear charge. First factor is atomic size. Greater the atomic size, so the lesser the electronegativity, because if the atomic size will be greater, the shared pair of electron will be attracted by the atom with the less force. So thus the electronegativity will be less. Greater the nuclear charge, greater the electronegativity, because the nuclear charge will be the stronger, then the shared pair electron will be attracted by the atom very strongly, thus greater the electronegativity. Now its variation or it trends in the periodic table, how it changes in a periodic table when one move across the period or down the group. So trends in electronegativity, which is also called as a variation in electronegativity. First one is across a period. When one move left to right in a period, nuclear charge increases as the atomic number is increases and atomic size is decreases. Therefore electronegativity is increases. Let's take the example of the element of third period. It starts from the sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. Sodium, it had the atomic number 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and so on. Then we can say that as it have the lesser atomic number, so it will be have the greater atomic size. As the atomic number increases, as elements are of the same period, so the number of a shell is also remain the same. Thus the atomic size decreases, nuclear charge increases, thus the electronegativity is also increases. So the last elements that are of the 17th group elements are always have the greater electronegativity. Now down the group, there is an increase in atomic number. When we one move from top to bottom, the atomic number is increases. Nuclear charge also increases, but the effective nuclear charge is decreases. Why? Because the addition of extra shell takes place from top to bottom. Due to that, atomic size increases. Effective nuclear charge decreases, so the electronegativity also decreases. So in a period, left to right it is increases. In a group, top to bottom it is decreases. Now note, special point related with this, that the noble gases have the complete octet. So they do not have the tendency to attract the electron. That means their electronegativity will be 0. Metals always shows the lower electronegativity as compared with the non-metals, because the metals are the electropositive and the non-metals are electronegative. Metals have the tendency to lose the electron, forming the positive cation, thus they are electropositive in nature. Non-metals always takes the electron, forming the negative anion, and as they are taking the electron, so they have the more capacity to attract the electron, thus the non-metals are electronegative. Now the next point is diagonal relationship. Now consider the elements of period second and period third. Element of period second are lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. So third period are sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur and chlorine. Now the element of second period, they have some similar properties with the next group of third period. This is the first group, second group, third A group, fourth A group, fifth A group, seventh A group, sixth A group and 7A group. Element of the second period have some similar property with the next period of the third period, next group of the third period. So lithium have some similar property with the magnesium. I repeat, elements of second period are resemble in their property with the next group elements of the third period. This relationship is called as a diagonal relationship. So lithium have some similar property with the magnesium, beryllium have some similar property with the aluminium, boron have some similar property with the silicon and so on. So we can say that there is a diagonal pair of lithium, magnesium, beryllium, aluminium, boron, silicon and so on. I repeat again, diagonal relationship. Diagonal relationship is can be defined as the element of the period second. They have some similar property with the next group of the third period element. This relationship is called as a diagonal relationship. Now we had completed all the periodic properties like atomic size, metallic character, non-metallic character, ionization potential, electron affinity, electronegativity. Overall, we can say that greater the value of electron affinity, it is easy to gain the electron. Non-metallic character will be more, thus the element will be oxidizing in nature. So it is about the non-metals. Non-metal elements will have the more electronegativity. So more electronegativity also, more electron affinity also, and they are easy to take it is easy for them to take the electron, so they are non-metallic in nature. In a opposite of that, metals are losing the electron, therefore their ionization potential is less, electron affinity is less and electronegativity also less. So remember, the element which is more metallic in nature will have the low ionization potential, low electron affinity and low electronegativity. Now come to the next point, atomic number and mass number, which is well known point to us. Atomic number is nothing but the number of protons present in the nucleus of an atom of an element. Also it is defined as the number of electron present in the shell of the atoms. Mass number can be defined as the total sum of the proton and neutron in the nucleus of an atom. Total number of proton and neutron of present in the nucleus of an atom. Now how we can have the relationship between the atomic number and mass number for the first 20 elements? Let me write that elements. The first element is hydrogen, atomic number 1, mass number 1. Second is helium, atomic number 2, mass number 4. Third is lithium, 3, 7. Then fourth is beryllium, 4, 9. Fifth is boron, 5, 10. 5, 11. Then carbon, 6, 12. Nitrogen, 17, 7, 14. Oxygen, 8, 16. Fluorine, 9, 19. Neon, 10, 20. Sodium, 11, 23. Magnesium, 12, 24. Aluminium, 13, 27. Silicon, atomic number 14, mass number 28. Phosphorus, atomic number 15, mass number 31. Sulfur, 16, 32. Chlorine, 17, 35. Argon, 18, 22. Then potassium 39, and calcium 2040. If we will consider the atomic number and the mass number of the first 20 elements, we will find some relationship. The elements which have the even number of atomic number, their mass number will be just double. Even atomic number, then the mass number will be double. And if there will be the odd atomic number, then mass number will be double plus 1. Like example, even number of atomic mass: helium 24, carbon 612, oxygen 816, neon 1020, magnesium 1224, silicon 1428, sulfur 1632, then calcium 2040. Only in this case there are the two exceptional cases. First is the beryllium and the second is the argon. So we should remember this, that there are the two elements which are having this exceptional cases. I repeat again, the elements which are having the even number atomic number, for their mass number is just double. Only two exceptional case, beryllium and argon. If the atomic number is odd number, then the mass number will be double plus 1. Like example, boron. 5 double is 10, 10 plus 1, 11. Then fluorine, 9 double is 18, 18 plus 2 plus 1, 19. Sodium, odd number 11 double 22 plus 1, 23. Aluminium 13, 27. Phosphorus 15 double is 30, 30 plus 1, 31. Chlorine double 17 atomic number, 17 double is 34, 34 plus 1, 35. Potassium is 19 double is 38 plus 1, 39. So this way atomic odd number will be of any element, then the mass number will be double plus 1. In this case also the one exceptional cases are there. We can say that the two, one is the nitrogen and second is the hydrogen. Hydrogen 1, 1. Double should be 2, but it is a 1 only. Nitrogen is 714. It should be 715, but it is a 714. So by just remembering these four exceptional, we can write easily the relationship between the atomic number and the mass number of the first 20 elements. Now students, please go through the textbook also. After listening the videos, all the main points which I'm underlining, you also remember them thoroughly, read them thoroughly in the textbook and find it whether they are correct or not. Again, I repeat again, please go through the textbook, read the textbook so that all the videos which are sent by the school can be easily understand, so that you can find and easiness to solve your exercise. All the points which are underlining, giving the relationship something related with the exam, that in what manner, in what form the questions can be asked, please remember them thoroughly. So by this we had completed our first chapter. In the next class we will start with the new chapter. Thank you.